Hello, good evening friends. I am Divyesh Bhagat from South Gujarat University and I am here to present a presentation on bacterial flagella and villi. I have my co-presenter with me, Nilesh Pandya. He is with me from Cambridge, Surat. Today we shall discuss some fundamental things about flagella and villi which are found in bacteria. The bacterial cell has lot of structures which are within the cell and some of the structures which are on the outer side of the cell wall. The structures which fall on the outer side of the cell wall includes flagella. Let's go to the introduction slide of flagella. So flagella, the word flagella is a plural one. The singular term is flagellum. The flagellum stands for a Latin word and it means whip. So flagella is a structure which is very thin, delicate, and it is a very thread-like structure which is helpful in propelling the bacteria in the movement. So basically it is a locomotory organ. Extremely thin, and its thickness is measured in diameter. The diameter is between 15 to 20 nanometers, and the diameter of the flagella varies from one species to another. The flagella is found in different arrangement and in different numbers. The number of flagella can be more, it can go beyond 100, or the flagella can only be present in a single number, as we say as a flagellum. The different parts of flagella are there. The flagella consists of the different parts. Let's see the slide next. The bacterial flagella can be divided into three major parts. The first part is the filament, which is the thin part, which is a longer one, and the second part is the hook. As you can see, the green colored thing in the slide, which is the hook. The hook is a tubular one, which is a bent portion and which is very flexible, whereas the lower portion is known as basal body. According to the detailed study, the basal body along with some C ring and the C rod, they are actually known by the name basal structure. So basically the flagella is made up of three major things. One is filament, second is the hook, and the third is the basal structure. Let's go to the next slide. So bacterial flagella structure is composed of three major parts. The filament, which is long, which is thin, and it is having a helical structure, and this helical structure is made up of a protein which is known as flagellin. The second part, which is known as hook, it is made up of a tubular polymer and it is having a curvature, and so it is quite flexible. The basal body is stacked up of rings and which is required for anchoring into this kind of the cell wall structure, because the flagella is coming out from the cell wall and it is coming towards the outer side of the cell. So flagella is basically anchored into the cell wall, and the anchoring of the flagella is done mainly through the basal structure. Next slide. So going in more detail of the structure of flagella, the base of the filament actually inserts into the hook. The second part, that is the basal body, which anchors the filament and hook to the cell wall. This is actually done by two major subparts. The first one is a rod and the second one a series of either 2 or 4 rings of integral protein. Now this number of rings actually varies from microorganism to microorganism, because as we know that the bacteria can be roughly classified into two major groups, gram positive microorganisms and gram negative microorganisms. In gram positive microorganisms, because of the difference in the basic structure of the cell wall, as you can see in this next slide, the number of rings are less. So on the left hand side, the gram negative organisms structure is shown, where you can easily see at the top of it, first the filament, the second structure which is shown is the hook, and as you see at the lower part of it, it is actually composed, the basal body is actually composed of 4 different rings. The 4 different rings, the names are given like L ring, P ring, S ring and M ring. These names are given based on the layers in which these rings are embedded. it is not actually named according to the material of which it is made, but it is actually named by the material in which they are embedded. Now, if you just clearly see the difference between the two, the rings are very less, or you can say there are only 2 rings in the gram positive bacteria.
So this is also one criteria for differentiate these different kind of bacteria on the basis of ring present in the basal body of flagella.
Yes. So the flagella are also useful for doing the classification of microorganisms, because on the basis of flagella, the number of flagella, what are the arrangement of flagella, and on that ground we can do the classification of bacteria. Let's have a look at the next slide.
Okay, this is the second view of particular ring arrangement in different types of flagella, which is earlier explained by Divyesh sir, and now it is shown that there are 4 rings in gram negative bacteria and 2 rings in gram positive bacteria. Sir.
Yeah, next. Okay, as I told you that flagella are present on the structure, on the outer surface of the bacterial cell, and they are found in variety of different arrangements. So let's have a look at the different types of arrangements. The first arrangement which is found is termed as monotrichous. It means that there is a single flagellum which is present on either side of the flagella, either side of the bacterial cell. The second arrangement which is seen is known as lophotrichous. In case of lophotrichous arrangement, the small bunches are arising from only one end of the cell. The other end of the cell does not have any flagella. So this type of arrangement is known as lophotrichous arrangement. In the series, the third arrangement which is found is known as amphitrichous. So first we started with monotrichous, the second one is lophotrichous, third one which now comes is amphitrichous. The flagella are present at both the ends of the cell. They are not present at only one end of the cell, but they are present on both the ends of the cell, and so it is termed as amphitrichous arrangement. Now it is quite possible, and it is generally seen, that bacteria possess the flagella on the entire surface of the bacterial cell, and this type of arrangement is known as peritrichous arrangement. It means that peritrichous arrangement has the flagella all around the surface and they are quite dispersed. Now the main thing which happens is, because of the peritrichous flagella, the bacteria are able to show the movement which is quite slow. On the other cases, there are some flagella which are only present on the lateral side, and this lateral side flagella, they are actually inducible. So when the viscous nature of the liquid is very high, at that time the flagella can be easily induced, and this can happen, and we can see the movement of the bacteria through the lateral flagella. Let's have a look at the next slide. So this is a diagram, this is a schematic pictures which are having with us, and this is actually electron micrographs which can clearly show you that the flagella can be present in variety of different arrangements. The first arrangement, as you see in the left top corner, is the peritrichous flagella. The peritrichous flagella shows, it is shown in this diagram that they are present all over the surface, and it is easily found in the case of Escherichia coli. Even the species of Proteus like Mirabilis, they possess this kind of peritrichous flagella. The second diagram, which is lower to it, is actually showing the lophotrichous polar arrangement. As you can see clearly, the flagella are present in more than one number, but they are present at only one end. If you see the other diagrams, right hand side top one, it is having a single flagella at one end, and that is actually a monotrichous polar flagellum. The last diagram is actually of two different things, means rather it is showing flagella on both the ends, and so this is amphitrichous polar flagella. So as this diagram clearly explains us that there are four major types of arrangements of flagella which can be found among bacteria.
Hence, this arrangement shows the different types of, or in the number of bacteria present on the surface of the number of flagella present on the surface of bacteria, but single flagella also can be responsible for the movement of bacteria. So it is we can let the presentation with that flagella is responsible for motility, and if they are present in number like one or more, bacteria remain motile.
Yeah, so the basic structure of the flagella is to impart locomotion. It is a locomotory organ. It allows the bacterial cell to do the movement in the environment, and it can do the movement either with a single flagellum also, or it can do it with the help of multiple flagella, which are seen in the different arrangements. Let's have a look at the next slide. So on the grounds of these different types of flagella which are found in different bacteria, we have three major families of flagella, or rather we can say that we can divide the different microorganisms into different categories based on the type of flagella which are found amongst them. So what is the basis of this family? The basis of this classification is the helical parameters like pitch, diameter and handedness. Now the students must be aware that the DNA structure is a double helical structure, and the double helical DNA structure actually has a diameter which has either a right-handedness or a left-handedness, and so in the same way you can also look at the structure of the flagella. So as you can see in the slide, based on the helical parameters, we have divided the flagellar families, and we have three major families. The first family, family 1, it is known by Peritrichus flagella, and the best example which we can find out is Salmonella typhimurium, Escherichia coli and others. Among the family 2nd, it bears all the organisms bear polar flagellum. The polar flagellum is found in Pseudomonas aeruginosa or in Pseudomonas syringae. The third family which is found, or the third family, is of lateral flagella. As I already explained that there are flagella which can be induced, and these are this category, that is lateral flagella. The lateral flagella is found in Vibrio parahemolyticus. So these are the major families of flagella.
So we can say that three different types of families are present in motile bacteria. As bacteria possess flagella, they are motile, and because of this motility and the nature of flagella, they can divided in three major categories.
Yes.
Okay.
Now there are some different types of other bacteria as well, because as I told you earlier that the flagella are present on the outer side of the cell wall, and they are actually hanging outside in the environment. But there are some microorganisms which possess flagella, and these flagella are not on the outer side, but they are present within the periplasmic space. As we know that there are some microorganisms which possess outer membrane as well as cell membrane, and these axial filaments are the name of the flagella which are found within the periplasmic space. One can also say that these flagella are internal flagella because they are found between the cell wall and the cell membrane, and this type of arrangement is definitely found in spirochetes. The spiral shaped microorganisms which are called spirochetes, they actually demonstrate the presence of flagella which are known as periplasmic flagella, or they can be called as axial filament. Now how do they move? Actually show the movement, because if the flagellum is not on the outside of the cell surface, how can it show the movement? But there is a mechanism which produces motility, and this motility is through the contraction and imparting twisting on the structure which is within. I'll just show you the detail in the next slide. Yeah, so this is the actually close look of the axial filament. As you can see on the upper part, it is the axial filament which is shown, and then on the lower part which we are having, it is a cross section. If you see in the cross section, between the cell membrane and on the outer side, there are the flagella which are seen, and these flagella are present within the within the bacterial structure. They are not at all outside of bacteria, and still they are able to impart motility. So you just see there are the different types of flagella.
So we can say that flagella are not only external appendages, but they are also internal appendages, and it is not always right that the flagella are external appendages and they are responsible for movement, but they are, in case of like these spirochetes, they remain internal or maybe say like periplasmic and show the motility in that particular kind of bacteria.
Yes, so flagella, though most of the times we say that they are found external to the cell, but they are often found even within the cell structure also, and they have the ability to impart the movement. Now, as we have talked about the flagella, we are basically talking about the flagella that are found in the bacteria. And as we know, the bacteria, they are divided into two categories. One is eubacteria and the second, which is archaebacteria. The details which we have seen up till now, we were talking about eubacteria. And there are some striking differences which are found in case of archaebacteria. The archaebacterial flagella are a bit different from the eubacterial flagella. How? The archaic flagellines have signal sequences. Now these are some extra signal sequences which are attached to the flagellin proteins and which suggest that the flagellum might grow from the proximal end. Now this is a quite different thing because the eubacterial flagella, they are growing from their tip. They don't grow from their bottom, but they grow from their tip. But the archaebacterial flagella actually grows from the proximal end. This is what the results up till now or the research up till now suggests. So the major difference between the archaic flagella and the bacterial flagella is probably in their growth procedure.
These archaebacteria must be, or we can say that archaebacteria found in very extreme conditions, and may they require a very firm kind of flagella, and because of that, may such kind of structure or maybe such kind of mechanism is shown in case of flagellin, as you told about the archaic flagella, sir.
Yes, so the flagella are present in both archaebacteria also, they are present in eubacteria also, and the archaebacteria and eubacterial flagella are having little bit of differences among them. So let's go to the next slide. So coming down to the functions of bacterial flagella, as we have been discussing up till now, that the major function of the flagella is to impart movement to the cell. Now how does it impart movement to the cell? The imparting of movement to the bacterial cell is through the propelling. So the rotation of the flagella is very essential for the movement of the cell. So the major function of bacterial flagella is the propulsion of bacterium through the environment. Now this rotation, or you can say the propulsion of bacterial flagella, can be both ways. It can be clockwise or it may be anti-clockwise, and which is reversible. It means bacteria may start a clockwise movement of the flagella and then they can stop in between and they can again go into the anti-clockwise, or you can say counterclockwise direction. The bacteria move in response to the different type of stimulus which are present in the outside environment. Let's say that if in the outside environment there are some chemical signals which are present. Now these chemical signals might be positive for the bacterial cell or they might be negative for the bacterial cell. It means that either the bacterial cells are attracted towards these chemicals or they want to go away from that chemical. So the chemicals can either act as an attractant or they may also act as a repellent. So this kind of movement is done through anti-clockwise or the clockwise rotation of the flagella. Let's see in the next slide. The function of bacterial flagella, it is achieved by two major movements. The movements of the bacterial flagella are actually done in terms of two different things. One is known as runs and the second is known as tumbles. So the runs are the ones which are the movements of the cell in a single direction for some time due to counterclockwise flagellar rotation. It means that when the flagella is moving in a counterclockwise direction, and it is giving you a kind of a smooth movement. Now this kind of smooth movement is obtained when the flagella is moving in a counterclock direction. But if it starts moving in the clockwise direction, then there will be a tumble. That can be seen in the next slide. So here you can see the tumbles, how they are obtained. The tumbles are actually occurring because of abrupt, random changes in direction due to clockwise rotation of flagella. So you should just bear in mind that when there is an anti-clockwise or counterclockwise rotation of flagella, it is resulting in very smooth movement of the bacterial cell. but when it actually undergoes a kind of a clockwise rotation, then it results in the tumbles. Now this can occur when there is a presence of stimuli which is unfavorable. So in general what happens is when the flagella is showing the anti-clockwise movement, it is actually getting attracted towards something, whereas if it is getting away from something, means it is getting repelled from something, then you can find that there is some clockwise flagellar rotation. Now in general, the movement of bacteria towards or away from some substance, or let's say from light also, because some organisms move towards the light, that is positive phototaxis. This movement of microorganisms towards the stimuli is known as taxis. If it is towards in response to a chemical one, then it is known as chemotaxis. If it is in response to a kind of a light, then you can say it is phototaxis. This slide clearly depicts that the organisms are showing the run and tumble kind of the intermittent behavior. In the upper diagram, if you just see, there is a presence of an attractant. There is a chemical which is attracting the bacterial cell. If you see initially, the microorganism is showing clockwise rotation, and so there is a run. In between, if you just see the blue and yellow color shaded cells which are shown, they are actually showing us that there is a tumble. Again, it will go for the kind of a clockwise direction, anti-clockwise, and so on. And finally, it will reach towards that attractant material. On the lower part, if you just see, there is a substance which is a repellent, and because of that repellent, the microorganism is moving away from that chemical substance. Now because of that, you are also seeing this combination of runs and tumbles. Yeah. So this is it. The flagellar rotation can be clockwise or it can be anti-clockwise, but for majority of times the rotation is of the counterclockwise direction because it imparts the distance to the cell. The cell is only able to travel when it is undergoing a flagellar rotation of anti-clockwise nature. When the flagella is moving in a clockwise direction, it just stays like that, and that period is very brief. It is of only about 0.1 seconds. But when the anti-clockwise direction movement is going on, it is able to move about 10 to 20 length of the cell itself, as the flagella is longer even than the length of the bacteria, and so we can say that it is very useful in propelling the bacteria very fast. The rotational speed of this type of bacteria are found to be as high as, or rather I can say the distance which it can travel is up to 100 micrometers per second in case of polar flagella. Just you imagine what is the speed of it. Nilesh?
It shows that the organisms can move very fast with the help of this kind of propelling, and which can lead to our organisms to move from one direction to another as per the requirement of nutrition or as per the requirement of the optimum parameters of environment. So it is really hard to move microorganisms in such a speed.
Yeah, so what we can say is like average size of a E. coli cell is hardly about 4 micrometers length, but the distance which it can travel with the help of flagella is very large. It means they are able to travel the distances within few seconds up to several times of their body length.
If you say it, sir, that the length of E. coli bacteria is 4 micrometers, then the speed as we shown that 100 micrometers, so we can say that it is 25 times than the bacterial length it can move.
Yeah. So even there is a difference, striking difference between the speed of the bacteria. The bacteria which are polar bacteria, or rather you can say which are having polar flagella, they are able to move very fast. But the ones which are having flagella all around, that is a peritrichous flagella, they are able to move a bit slower.
Oh, so we can say that as the number of flagella increase, the speed of the bacteria is decrease.
Yeah, you can say that, but it might not be correct every time also.
Okay.
Now, this immense speed of flagella can be considered as a flying speed, because this speed is so high that it actually suggests that it is a cruising speed. The cruising speed for bacteria is about 10 body lengths per second. Just within a second it can move up to 10 times its own length. And if we compare it with human beings, then you can say that the human beings are just about to fly if they have the speed of the bacteria. And the flagella which are moved by the bacteria, they are up to 1 lakh revolutions per minute. Just within 60 seconds they can rotate the flagella for as large number as 1 lakh. So they can rotate as 1 lakh revolutions.
So if we can compare microorganism with human body, and the particular human have a height of 6 feet and it can move with the 10 time of its body length, then the human being can fly, or human being can move 60 feet per second.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes, it means that the flagella are able to do the movement very effortlessly, but it is not so, because the flagella are also facing the viscous nature of the environment, but they have this kind of ability to counter the environmental area, and they are able to propel themselves very fast.
So bacteria must have to require some energy for such kind of very fast movement.
Yes, they do require energy, and for that they have to depend on the protons which are actually thrown outside from the cell during the electron transport. They are again taken inside through the ATPase. The ATPase is generating ATP, and the ATP is used for propelling this type of flagellar movement.
And from the class of 8th or 9th, or we can say that from the class of 4th, we know about that the ATP is acting as a currency of energy, and
Yes.
this energy is provided to a flagella, and with the help of this ATP, flagella can rotate and move. It can move bacteria from one side to another side.
Yes, ATP seems to be a kind of a universal currency which is found in most of the living organisms. They are also found in bacteria, and they are acting as an energy source. So this is the structure, as in the next slide we are displaying, which actually shows how flagellar rotation happens. It actually explains the energetics of flagellar rotation. If you just see at the left side of the slide, at the lower part, due to the electron transport, the protons are getting on the outer side of the cell membrane. There is accumulation of protons on the outer side, and these protons can get inside through the tunnel which is present in the ATPase enzyme. This ATPase enzyme produces ATP by converting the ADP into ATP, and this is actually based on the proton motive force. But can you imagine how many protons it would require to do just one rotation?
We can't imagine that how much protons required. It is required a very high number of proton to rotate a particular ATP is to produce ATP from ADP.
Yes, actually, as I already told you, that bacteria within a minute can rotate the flagella for as many as 1 lakh times. Now, for one rotation, it is estimated that it requires around 256 protons. So you just imagine in 1 minute how many protons are used for generating this flagellar movement.
So we can say that it is like a nuclear reaction takes place in between the periplasmic space to rotate a particular flagella in particular one rotation.
So the flagella are very delicate, but they are having very high grade of molecular mechanism. Actually, this flagellar structure, it is rotated through a motor, and which we can say that it is as good as a molecular motor, which is of the dimensions of nanometer, but in efficiency it is at par with any other very high grade sophisticated structures. So energy is captured by the chemiosmosis in a bacterial cell membrane. The flagellar motor is useful in movement of the flagella, and this flagellar motor can be compared as a molecular machine. It can actively play part and it can be done by using the proton motive force. Each flagellar rotation requires the influx of 256 protons. Next. Okay, now how will we be able to see the flagella? Can you see the flagella directly?
By discussing about the thinness of the flagella and the diameter of the flagella, we can't imagine that we can see the flagella in the microscope. Even that the microorganism itself, bacteria itself, are difficult to see in microscope. Then how can we see that flagella in microscope?
Yes, so the bacteria are visible in the microscope when we do the staining and when we do the magnification up to the 1000 times, but still they are like pinheads. They are very tiny, and this flagella are even tinier than that. They are measured in the diameter in terms of nanometer, and so it is very difficult, rather I can say impossible, to see the flagella by bright field microscopy. So what one has to do is one has to make some special arrangement, special treatment of this kind of a staining material.
So we can say that which kind of treatment is required to stain this very thin flagella.
Yeah, so what one can do is we can increase the diameter of the flagella by putting some chemicals onto it, so that actually in reality the diameter of the flagella remains the same, but we are apparently actually increasing the diameter of the flagella, and when they are becoming thicker you can easily observe under the microscope. This type of techniques which are used to increase the diameter of the flagella are known as mordanting.
Okay, so the same word, that mordant, which is utilized for increasing the thickness of particular bacteria, which is called as a spirochete. The same technique is required to increase the diameter of flagella and make it visible through bright field microscopy in a stained position.
Yes, so there are already well established method which can be used in the laboratory to do the staining, and by that we can actually visualize the flagella in reality. The methods which are already well known are Lifson's method, Loeffler's methods, and so on, and we can just see on the slide how exactly the bacteria looks. Okay, so in this slide if you just see, one cell has been shown in the center and the flagella are around it, and it is showing a peritrichous movement, or rather I should say peritrichous arrangement around the bacterial cell. Okay, commenting on the next slide, up till now what we have seen is the nature of the flagella which is present in the eubacteria. Now we are comparing the prokaryotic flagella with the eukaryotic flagella. As you can see in the diagram, the first diagram is regarding the eubacterial, rather I should say prokaryotic flagella. The prokaryotic flagella are very thin, they are very delicate, but compared to that, the eubacterial flagella, rather I should say eukaryotic flagella, are very thick, and they also consist of one more thing, that is microtubules. You can just see in the diagram that the flagella is there first, which is a prokaryotic flagella. The second diagram is of a eukaryotic flagella and which is having microtubules. The third diagram is of a eukaryotic cell which is showing a flagellar movement. Now flagella of bacteria actually moves like a motor, as if I am driving a screwdriver. If you are moving a screwdriver to screw the thing or you unscrew it, you are doing the movement. The similar kind of motion is shown by the prokaryotic bacteria. But in case of eukaryotic microorganism, the flagellar movement is of beating. It is not of a kind of a clockwise or anti-clockwise movement. And that is the basic difference between the bacterial flagella and the eukaryotic flagella.
So we can say that it is a movement in prokaryote, it is a whip-like movement,
yes.
Whereas in eukaryotic flagella, it is a screwdriver-like movement is seen.
No, in case of prokaryotes, the movement is like a screwdriver. Either you are screwing it or unscrewing it. And in case of eukaryotes, it is like the beating.
Okay.
But it is also different from the ciliary movement, because the ciliary movement, the organisms which possess cilia, they are also showing a little bit difference in their movement. Next.
So up to now, Divyesh sir told about the flagella, and the flagella is mainly responsible for the locomotion in bacteria. Apart from these flagella, another external appendages which is seen in bacteria are fimbriae and pili. We can say that fimbriae and pili are many times the terms utilized interchangeably or synonymously for most purposes, but actual in fimbriae is differ from pili, as many gram-negative bacteria contain hair-like appendages that are shorter, straighter and thinner than flagella and are used for attachment and transfer of DNA rather than motility. If we consider flagella as a thread-like, then fimbriae or pili are quite thinner than that flagella, and they are look like a hair-like structures in comparison to flagella. These structures are mainly composed of a protein which is called as a pillin. These kind of pillin form a particular central rod, and at the last part of this rod, that is the adhesive tip is present, which is responsible for binding of this pili to a particular substrate, and this adhesive tip have a conformation, or they have a structure which is conformatory to a particular the structure, and it is compatible to bind it particular to that surface.
So, sir, the fimbriae, pili, and flagella, are they very similar?
By structure wise it is quite similar, but they are differ in the composition. Flagella is composed of flagellin, whereas the pili and fimbriae, they are composed of pillin. Both are protein, but the nature of protein is differ.
Okay.
So we can say that fimbriae and pili, they are non-motile extension. Flagella is a motile extension responsible for locomotion, whereas the fimbriae and pili, as earlier told, that fimbriae is responsible for attachment and pili is responsible for the DNA transfer, or we can say that genetic transfer of microorganisms, or rather say bacterial genetic transformations. But many times fimbriae and pili are synonymously or interchangeably utilized for most purposes, but we can clear cut differentiate fimbriae from pili by their functions. Fimbriae is referred to bacterial structure of attachment, and the word pili reserved for the structure that function in genetic transfer. So we can clear cutly say that fimbriae is responsible for attachment and pili is responsible for DNA transfer or genetic transfer in between bacteria. Fimbriae is a sticky, proteinous and bristle-like projection. Sticky just because of their sticky nature of fimbriae at the tip, because it is responsible for the attachment, so it is necessary to it remain sticky. Proteinic because it is made up of a particular protein called pillin, and bristle, it is a skip-like projections. It is remain overall the bacterial surface, and that it is called as a bristle-like projections. It is used by bacteria to adhere or to stick to one another, means bacteria attachment, or to host bacteria attached to another kind of cells, or to substances in environment, means bacteria can attach to another bacteria, to other different types of cells, or another non-living surfaces of the environment. And these pili or these fimbriae may be hundreds per cell and are shorter than flagella. As sir told about the flagella are lengther in comparison to bacterial size. It is 3 or 4 times to bacterial length. In comparison to that, fimbriae is shorter than flagella and responsible for attachment. It serves as an important function in the formation of biofilm. This biofilm is nothing but we can say that it is an aggregation of different microorganisms at a particular surface. The primary kind of bacteria attached to a surface with the help of this fimbriae, and then after they showed that different mechanism or different activity like metabolism and reproduction, and thereby they increase the number of microorganism, and then after they form a particular layer of a whole bacteria and allow same kind of bacteria and a different type of bacteria to come together and forming a particular thin layer of bacterial film, which is called as a biofilm. The simpler example of biofilm is that the plaque formation takes place in the dental surfaces. It is the clear-cut example of biofilm, and it is just because it is become possible just because of attachment of bacteria to particular teeth or particular non-living surfaces, and this attachment is just because of fimbriae or its tip. Here in this figure, students can see that bacteria having a much more, about 100 to more than that, spike like projections, which is called as a fimbriae, and below that there is the E. coli cells, which is remained attached with the microvilli of epithelial cells, which is present in our intestine, or you can say that in human intestine. So we can say that fimbriae is responsible for attachment. Apart from fimbriae, pili is long hollow tubules composed of pilin protein, longer than fimbriae but shorter than flagella. Bacteria typically only have one or few pili per cell and found majorly in gram-negative bacteria. This pili is also acting as a receptor for certain types of viruses. With the help of this pili, virus attached to a bacteria and then after infect the bacteria. Pili's main function is to join bacterial cell for partial DNA transfer called conjugation, and this pili formation or this pilus is called as a conjugation tube or sex pili. By this method, they can transfer, one bacteria can transfer its own DNA material to another bacteria, and this technique is utilized for gene mapping also. Pili are responsible for more than bacterial joining, and it is we can say that twitching motility, which is found in type 4 pili, and this motility is observed in Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Neisseria gonorrhoeae and Vibrio cholerae. Twitching motilities look like a gliding motility, which is shown in bacteria without flagella, in which bacteria can stick a particular surface with the help of pili, and then after push itself towards that pili, and then after detach that pili to another surface, and thereby they gliding from one part of surface to another part. Twitching motility is a jerky motion which is shown in bacteria. Here you can see that the fimbriae versus flagella. Fimbriae is very short in comparison to flagella. In another figure, you can show the difference between fimbriae and pili. Fimbriae are in very large number on particular bacteria, whereas the pili is 1 or 2 and it joined the 2 bacteria. Here some differences, or we can say that the comparison is given in flagella versus pili. That flagella possess flagellin protein, whereas pili possess pilin protein. Flagella is seen in many rods and few cocci, whereas the pili is seen in many gram-negative rods. Flagella, we can say it is 1 to several hundreds according to the organism. Same scenario is seen in pili. Main difference is that the flagella is responsible for motion, whereas the pili is responsible for the attachment and conjugation, that is bacterial DNA transformation transfer. Origin wise, flagella is originated hook-like insertion to basal granule inside the cell wall, whereas the pili can originate from cell cytoplasm, then through the cell membrane, cell wall, and then cell capsule. Bacterial flagella demonstrated by staining or demonstrated indirectly by motility, whereas pili demonstrated by directly electron microscope or indirectly by agglutination of RBC.
Okay, so these are the references which we have taken for the content, and I hope the students have gained a lot from the basic lectures on the fundamentals of bacterial pili and bacterial flagella. Along with that, we have also covered what is called as bacterial fimbriae.
And we are very thankful to Gujarat government as well as the Sandhan. The program is carried out by Gujarat government and the Bisect Studio for providing such a facility to interact with the different students of different regimes of the state.
Okay, see you then, friends. We'll meet again.
Thank you very much.